My name is Pat O'Connor. I am the broker owner of the Realtors Real Estate Group, and we're located in Coral Springs, Florida. Today I want to talk about for sale by owners. I just want to give people who are considering selling their own property without any professional assistance just a few tips, warnings, things to be aware of. I was driving through a neighborhood this week and I saw my first for sale by owner sign in a long time. And you would think when properties go pending in 2 or 3 days, there would be many more of these. And there aren't, at least here in my corner of South Florida. So if you're thinking about it, here are some things to be aware of. The first one is, do you know what your property is worth? Realtors are trained to be able to find comparable past sales, to give them a good idea of what a listing value should be. If you go to Zillow and look at their estimated value, a lot of times that's not even close. And your house may not sell for what your neighbor's house sold for last month, right? There could be difference in ages, square footage, condition of the home. There are a lot of things that can affect the value of the home. The second one is the buyer's comfort when they're coming through to look at a property. If you're selling it yourself, you probably want to be there when they come through, right? You know, maybe not, but they may or may not have a realtor with them. They may have seen your sign and just called the number on the sign and came in to see it. Now, if you're trailing around behind them because you don't want to leave strangers alone in your house, they're most likely not going to spend as much time looking at the property. You're going to make them feel uncomfortable. You may be, giving them a spiel that they don't particularly want to listen to. You need to give them room so that they can imagine themselves living in that home. So the third thing is your comfort. Okay, forget the buyer for a moment. How about your comfort? If you're going to be there alone with strangers, do you feel safe? Again, there may not be any realtor accompanying them. And if you're there alone, particularly speaking as a senior citizen, if you are on the other side of 50, the far side of 50, do you want to be alone with strangers in your house? All right, so let's say those first 3 points are fine. Do you understand the contract? Our contract is 12 to 14 pages long here in Florida. Lots of contingencies. We really only have, maybe 2 hands full, maybe 10 fill in the blanks. And all the rest of it is legalese, disclaimers, disclosures, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You should read it. You should understand it before you sign anything. Do you? Maybe you'll get hit. Maybe you'll put it on the market. You'll say, this is great. And maybe you'll get 4 or 5 different kinds of contracts. Do you know which one offers better protection for you? Can you make that determination? Okay, so the next thing is, are you comfortable negotiating? All right, you got an offer. Can you counteroffer? Or are you just going to ignore that offer? All right, do you have the negotiation skills? Can you keep your cool? Somebody comes in with a low ball offer. You have no middleman here to negotiate, right? It's you and either the buyer's agent or the buyer directly, and they may piss you off. Are you going to walk away from the deal? If you have a middleman, they don't have money invested except their commission. So they are more apt to keep a cooler head and not be insulted by lowball offers, because lowball offers can always come up. And if people are going to be aware that you're selling it yourself, and they may try to take advantage of you. So the next thing is, do you understand a contract's contingencies? Right? A deal can usually fall apart at three different places. First one's the home inspection. Did you request that the buyers give you an as-is contract so that you're not responsible for repairs? If not, the home inspection may come up with 3 sheets of problems with the house, and the buyers are going to expect you to contribute. This happened to me when I sold my New Jersey home, and man, it ticked me off. I had a realtor who calmed me down, but the inspector came up, and it was a 1930s house, right? Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that, wasn't pristine. But that kind of stuff is usually not in a home inspector report. But I was ready to walk away from the deal. And like I said, my realtor was wonderful. She calmed me down. We got the deal closed, and I moved to Florida. So that's one of the things that you can not know how to handle, is what happens after a home inspection if there are issues. The second point where things can fall apart is an appraisal, right? The appraisal comes in lower than, list price, what you wanted it to sell for. What are you going to do? Are you going to walk away from the deal? Are you going to negotiate? Are you going to split the difference with the buyer? Because their loan amount will only be the appraisal value. So if you want more money than the appraisal value, it's going to come out of their pocket, your pocket, or you're going to split the difference between the two. So the third thing that can ruin a deal is the buyer doesn't meet the deadline for obtaining financing. What are you going to do? Are you going to give them more time? Are you going to say, screw it? They didn't even try to get another lender. They only worked with one lender. It was rejected. I really should have asked for a pre-approval letter with an offer, but hey, I'm just a seller. I don't know about these kind of things. So that's another place of failure that maybe with a little foreknowledge, you could have asked for a pre-approval letter. You could have asked for proof of funds if it was a cash deal, so that it didn't fall apart at the last minute. And the last thing that you need to be worried about is seller's disclosure. If you try to hide something that is not obvious when someone walks into the home or the home inspector, you try to hide it, you don't disclose it, the buyer moves in, and maybe here in Florida we have a rainy season and we have a dry season. Okay, our rainy season typically is like middle of May through end of October. So what if you sell the house in April? when things are usually dry, and then we get our torrential rains starting usually middle of May. And guess what? The roof leaks. And you get a home inspector up there, and he goes, yeah, it's obvious that this has been an issue for a long time. This did not just appear. So, do you know that if it can be proved that you knew that there was an issue with the house and that materially affected the value of the home and you didn't disclose it, the buyer can sue you for 3 times the cost of repairs. And I believe they have up to 5 years to make that claim against you. I may be wrong about that, but I think there is a 5-year window. So those are all the kinds of things. There were 7 points there, if I followed my cheat sheet correctly, that you need to be aware of if you're going to sell your own house. Yes, you can save on commission, but if you have to hire an attorney to explain the contract to you, they charge by the hour. If you go back and forth, that can add up. Are you going to want to list it in the MLS? If you do, you're going to have to pay a realtor something to list it in the MLS. They are not going to list it for free. Or do you think that just the sign in the front yard will be enough to give you enough offers and you can do everything on your own? It's up to you. I have to admit, I'm a little biased here. But if you do choose to do it, I wish you well. Just be aware of some of the pitfalls. Okay, I will see you guys next week. Bye.